back at Brotherly Beliefs, Faith, Family, and Fun. I'm Malik.
And I'm Tristan. Join us for candid conversations about life tapestry, from the faith that binds us to the family that shapes us to the pure fun woven in every moment. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's dive into the heart of our stories and enjoy an incredible tapestry
Of Brotherly Beliefs.
So, dad guilt, what is it?
Dad guilt?
What is dad guilt to you?
To me, I don't know exactly what it means to begin with, but if I had to take a stab at it, I would just think it was like maybe feeling like, of course, guilt for maybe something that you felt as your role as a dad you didn't fulfill. You know what I mean? Like, say your son doesn't know like a certain thing, like maybe how to change a tire. You would feel like guilt for that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Am I on the right track for that, or is it kind of close? Or
I mean, that's one way you could feel guilt as a dad, but dad guilt is this concept that you work so hard and you work so hard to provide that you're there. You're not there for the moments, and so you miss moments.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Where do you feel you have that dad guilt? Do you feel like you have that dad guilt where you feel sometimes guilty for not being present enough or being present for things you feel like you should be present for?
As of right now, I don't. I am scared that I will later because of the career that I want to go on, and I know how much time and hours that I'm gonna have to put into it. So I don't know, and that's a big reason why I want to be self-employed. You know what I mean? I just want to be a freelancer, so that way I can make my own schedule. You know?
Yeah.
So that way I'm not missing out on those big events or those big moments and all that. So I'm trying my best to steer away from having those problems.
Yeah, man. That's the one thing that I do want to try to avoid my best is that although I may provide, and it's kind of one of those things where it happens, right? You're going to feel guilty. You're not going to be there for every moment. It's impossible, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to provide at some point. And so there's going to be a moment that you miss, whether it's a first word or first steps or whatever it is, when you provide and when you are the main provider, right? We are main providers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like we just have the ability to just say, yeah, fuck it. Like, the bills will be paid anyway. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
If it's not for us, majority of the bills won't be paid.
Right.
And so whether it's a sports game, you know, like when you get into that age, there's going to be a track meet you miss or whatever it may be. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about lately. What position do I put myself in where I can be there? Like at least 9 out of 10 times, because it's going to be inevitable that I miss some. So how do I place myself in the position to be there 9 out of 10 times?
Man, I'm not sure. Like, because the career, like, are you just talking about like?
Yeah, career, like, you know, all of it
in general. So for your career, you want to be a pilot. I'm not sure how that would work. Have you seen anything else?
I've been looking at cargo pilots.
Okay.
Cargo pilot, I literally talked to a cargo pilot. He worked 6 months. Made $500,000. Took the rest of the year off.
Oh yeah, that's nice for real.
Yeah,
just 6 months straight. That's
and so
cool.
what he did was within like 24, 48 hour period, he flew from here to Australia to Germany, China, something I don't remember, somewhere else, and then back here.
That's crazy.
Just back to back to back.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But then he will work 3 days, take 10 days off.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be, and then made $500,000 in 6 months. I was like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. That'd be cool. So is that something you want to do, be a cargo pilot, or because I thought you wanted to do commercial?
Well, I just want to fly.
Okay.
That's my thing. Is I don't care what I fly or where I fly. I just want to fly.
Right.
Like, that's all I care about. And that doesn't change the fact that I can still fly on my own. $500,000. You're damn sure that I'm gonna have my own plane.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be the one thing. I'll have a nice house, but guess what? I'm gonna have a plane.
Right. I want to. Just us talking about like games and all that stuff. I'm thinking at least when they're at high school age, because sports isn't really that competitive for like middle school or little league in general. When they get to like high school age and they're playing sports, if they are, you know what I mean? I would like them to, but if they don't want to, you know.
Yeah.
But if they get to that age and they're playing sports, I'm going to try and get my way into like the athletic director. Like, hey, I'm a videographer. Like, I can make some game recaps or highlights, you know.
Yeah.
Like, if you try and work my way into like making it a business deal, you know.
Yeah.
So that way I'm still there supporting my son and all that, but at the same time I'm filming too, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean? So try to make it both work and not work at the same time. Yeah. But I know if I end up doing that, it'll probably get like it'll make it feel like I'm making everything work.
Yeah.
So that I have to find that median to where I could just be away from the camera and just be there strictly to support myself.
Yeah, 100%. So. And right, and I have the same feeling like about like sports in general. Right? You don't want to do sports, all right. I didn't do sports. But you got to apply yourself somewhere. I think it's those extra curricular activities are so important. Whether it's you're more into academics. Okay, let's get you into like debate or something like academically driven, but that still has that healthy competitiveness to it. Because and that comes with this is what is the competition going to be like when our kids are in high school? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
The competitiveness has already been taken out so much in sports in general, since like kids sports, all the way up until high school. Right. Since even our parents were kids. When our parents were kids, it was really competitive, and now it gets a drawback, and everyone's a winner, and everyone's right. So what happens? What even like you don't even get a trophy for first place,
right? Exactly.
You get the same, like, you know what I mean?
Everybody gets like a participation award or something.
And you don't have championships, like
you know
what I mean? So it's just kind of like what we don't know what it's going to become, but at the same time, like I want to be there and I want to support, and no matter what it is, I don't care if it's debate. We can sit down and go through debate things. If I can't be present for the event, the game or the debate, whatever it may be, I want to be present for the preparation to that point.
Right, yeah.
Right? So whether it's teaching you how to dunk, I don't care. Like whatever steps you need to take to get better, and I want to be a part of that if I can't be present for those events in the
like at least
objective.
The build up, you know what I mean? Like strive to get you to that point of like greatness, you know.
And I always want to be there for the that's my thing, is I want to be there for the victories. But I also want to be there for the losses. I don't know, that's kind of weird. It's like
because they're gonna need you for the losses. You know, like they're gonna have to figure out how like it feels to lose and how to come back from it. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of games where it's like tough losses. Like, man, you put your all into it. It was a good game all throughout, and it didn't go your way.
Yeah,
it didn't go your way. So there's just it hits different sometimes.
Yeah, and especially when and this happens, and it's not something you can control, but there will be a moment where that loss is on him, where his teammates were counting on him, and he choked or cost the game, you know? And so you just got to sit there and and this is genuinely the conversation I'll have is, man, you messed up, right? This is because of you? Yeah. Good. it sucks, right? Yeah. Good. Use it.
Don't do it again.
Like, simple as that. And that's my thing is, you have
to remember how that feels, so that way you won't put yourself in that situation.
100%, and I think that's important for character building. Is when there's stakes, when there's something at stake, and you lose it, the feeling you have is so much worse than when there's nothing at stake.
Right. Yeah.
If I go crash my car and I know that,
because it really means something to you.
If I go crash a car that somebody else bought for me, somebody else will buy me a car. I can buy myself a car, right? I buy a car that I buy a car straight out, put everything I have into this car,
Mm-hmm.
and I crash that car, it means so much more because there's so much more sentimental value in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
And I also think that's why, like, being able to work for the things that you have is so important too. Like, I'm not just gonna. So when I say spoon feed, I'm not gonna spoon feed my child, as in I'm not just gonna put everything in his lap. You know what I mean?
I'll never buy my kids a car.
Why not?
Because
It depends for me. It depends because, like I was saying, I'll never just put stuff in his lap. I want him to be able to work for it and understand what it means to work for something like that. If he goes through school and gets to the age where he's 16 and I've seen him mature and work for everything he's gotten, hell yeah, I get him a car, you know what I mean? But shoot, if it's to that point, he might not even need my help. But at the same time, sports and all that, there's not really much time to work.
the most I would do is 50-50 on a car.
Yeah,
I'll match you
cool.
well, I'll match you whatever. You save up your money, you tell me when that deadline is. At that point, I will match you whatever you have.
Yep.
So if you come to me and you have $5,000, I'll match you the other 5,000. We'll get
Yep.
you your first car will be $10,000.
Yep.
Right? But I will not outright pay for a car for any of my kids.
Mm.
Period. I think that goes into spoon feeding. I think that they have not placed any value in that car. Right? So they don't know what it's like to work so hard that you get to finally accomplish this goal of I saved up to this point. Man, this feels good. Okay, now let's save up to the next thing, right? Because that builds that life skill of being able to save money and still being able to do what you want. Think about it. 16 years old, what were you blowing your money on?
I wasn't really blowing it.
You were saving it?
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was saving it and buying like soap, toothpaste, toothbrush, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like I've been working since I was 14.
Yeah,
so
me too.
As soon as I got a job, more responsibilities was thrown at me. I didn't really get to use my money for whatever.
So at some point you were blowing money, right?
Mm-hmm.
What were you blowing money on?
Probably alcohol.
Alcohol.
Yeah,
shoes,
parties,
clothes, things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. How many of those outfits do you still have not been messed up, have not been,
Oh yeah, right.
It's all. Now you would have bought something higher quality, boom, right?
Mm.
Something cheaper, easily replaced, and now you learn. Okay, any jeans that I have used, like when I was working out at Star or anywhere else, or doing manual labor, Walmart jeans, they're $16,
right?
Comfortable, and they're great. Let me just tell you guys, they're great. Like they're breathable. They're a breathable material, so when it gets hot outside. It's just still a nice little breeze. Helps with that swamp ass.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Jeans. I can't do it, man. I can't.
What, wear jeans?
Yeah. I'm not a jeans kind of guy.
You wouldn't even throw on a pair of Levi's?
No. Nope.
Have you ever tried on a pair of Levi's?
No.
Try on a pair of Levi's and you'll change your mind.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Get some I'll take you. I'll show you the exact ones.
Okay.
but no. So all of these things are just materialistic, right? So you're not really learning to save and the responsibility, right? And so it goes into it of okay, you can teach your kids how to clean your house and do this, but what are you teaching them, right? 16 years old, you have to have a job at my house, period.
Mm.
We'll go job hunting. I'll teach you how to call and check on your application and bug until you get that job. 16, you get a job. From that moment, you have more responsibility. When the year is up, it's time to do taxes, you're sitting down and I'm helping you with your taxes. I'm not doing them for you.
Mm.
I'm helping you do your taxes. Fully by mail-in. Not with TurboTax, not with nothing else. We're going to show you how to actually do your taxes with no help. Because what happens if electricity or electronics all fail and you need to do your taxes? Now you have no idea. Do you know how to do your taxes by mail?
Nope.
Exactly.
Right.
So what would you do?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or you have no money and you're counting on that and you need that.
Right.
Go to H&R Block and they take half your taxes. I don't know about half, but they take your taxes.
A portion of it.
Yeah, they take a portion of your taxes and then what? You're a college student and this is what gets you through that last little bit of the semester,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, with all that being said, is my job is to teach life skills. My job is to teach you how to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's those little things that will help you, right? You save that $5,000. Now you have value.
Mm-hmm.
I buy you this car. You have no time invested in it. You've just been given to you. It's been given to you. You don't know what you didn't put any dedication into it. That's how you get messed up cars. Kids driving recklessly because they have no care for whether or not their car gets messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to drive recklessly sometimes? Yeah. But I guarantee you, when you have a car that you've put so much work into getting, you're going to be like, yeah, hey, man, I can't mess up this car, man. I worked hard for this car.
Yeah.
Like, so when you have that when you're teaching that responsibility and you're setting them up for that success of when they buy their first $20,000-$30,000 car, it's gonna be taken care of. It's gonna set them up for I know what it feels like to work for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then with that being said, right? So first car, I will never buy a first car. This is what I will do. That second car, after they've already worked hard for that car, we'll take that first car, we'll trade it in, and will be when they go off to college, right? You go off to college, you need a reliable car. I don't care. I need you to become. If anything happens, and you need to come home, I want you to be able to do it safely. So that second car, we'll trade your car in, we'll get you a car, and then I'll pay for it. Because now you already have the responsibility of knowing what it feels like to work for it.
Right.
Yeah, man. I think
pretty cool. Yeah.
I think that's the importance of it. I think it's all teaching your kids that responsibility while also helping them, right? Because I could say, "Oh yeah, your '99 Honda Accord, yeah, take that off to college, and that college is 8 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
Drive that back once a month.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, it's gonna fail."
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you can call me and I'll come get you, but I also shouldn't put you in the position, like, as your father, I shouldn't put you in the position to have to even worry about it.
Right. And that's cool, and like I see where you're coming from and all that, but if, like I said, if I'm in a situation where I can buy a first car, I will. And that just goes with, like I said, how you've matured and all that, you know what I'm saying? And I'm waiting till 16 anyways. You're going to be working starting at 14. Well, given the circumstance, I'm going to try and get you to start working at 14. But seeing how you mature and how you go through school, like you're doing great in school, you're doing great in like sports, you know what I'm saying, and all that, and you're really like pushing and doing everything you can, doing things around the house. I don't have to ask you, like you work for everything that you're doing, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I feel like it'd be a cool ass reward for me to go ahead and like get you a first car. Now it won't be a $10,000 car or anything like that, but it will be like a $2,000 to $5,000 car, just something to get you like to your friend's house, like
so
school
they asked,
and all that.
So if they asked to match you, would you do it?
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely,
if they were like, if you were like, your budget is $5,000 and they want that $10,000 car, and they asked like, hey, can I match you at $5,000? You know?
Yeah.
And you just help me with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another thing is like, I want them to have a job, like you said, at 16. Like all your kids are gonna have a job at 16. That only thing for me is that a job can take away from school or sports or whatever you have going on in school. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be happy if you get a part-time job that you could just work weekends on.
Yeah,
or something
that's
like
exactly
that.
what I mean.
Yeah. So because like Monday through Friday, you're so wrapped up in school, work, homework, and sports or whatever you got going on. That way, like the weekend's kind of really your only time to just have free time. So work like at least 6 hour shifts, you know what I'm saying? And then enjoy, do whatever you want to do, you know? So it's trying to find that median of like being strict on them and like making sure they know like how to work for what they got, you know what I'm saying? And then still being like, okay, you put in all this work, like go enjoy your free time, you know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah, and I would agree, right? If your school is suffering, then you got to work weekends, and that's it. And then you have less money. Like
right? Yeah.
That's where you teach that responsibility of when you play, you pay. right? So you're playing around and you're not taking care of your responsibilities, you're going to pay for it, right? So with that being said, it's going to just take longer for you to get your car because
Right. Yeah.
you want to duck around and duck off and not apply yourself in school and then just focus on your job. You have to be able to balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It goes into the same thing as you can't only focus on being a father. You have to also focus on being a good employee.
Right.
Like you have to balance your priorities and your responsibilities. So you have to teach them. You have to set them up for that success, right? And so you got to cut down to weekends only. Well, sounds like in order to get that car faster, you need to make it up in the summertime. And so me and Jason, we were working 46 hours every week at 16 years old throughout the summer.
Oh, yeah.
We were working just under 40 throughout the week during school.
Right.
Again, we didn't have responsibility like that. We kind of just blew our money on whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
Like we paid our phone bills. We bought the stuff we needed, but we were making money. Like
right. Yeah.
we were making plenty of money, and that's not including anything we were doing on the side or anything like that. That was just straight work.
Right.
And so we were blowing money, alcohol, just cigarettes, stupid stuff. Like, yeah, man. It's just one of those things where at what point do you say, okay, like this, right? What age do you get them their license? Right. Well, obviously, it just depends on the state. Like, if we go off of Kansas rules, right?
Yeah.
You can get your permit at 14.
Yep.
Have your restricted at 15.
Yep.
Have your license at 16.
Yep.
Right. At what point do you say, you know what? You have not shown me you're mature enough for a license.
I think it really depends on getting to that age because at the same time, it's like how they care for stuff, like how they care for their own stuff, how they care for stuff around their house, you know what I'm saying? And just, it's my responsibility to teach them, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I want them to know how to, because at some point, all their friends are going to be driving around and all that. And I don't want them to be the last one to drive, you know what I'm saying? So I would just, like I said, it depends on how they take care of things and all that. But I teach them, like, whenever I feel the age is deemed ready, before 14, because I want them to know how to drive before, like, going to get the permit or whatever. So teach them that or whatever, take them to a parking lot and all that, you know, let them learn how to accelerate, decelerate, how to make sharp turns and all that, you know, and park and all that. So, and then, like you said, whenever those ages hit, it's like a milestone, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, now you're 14, go get your permit, you know what I'm saying? You know how to drive, you know what I'm saying? So it's just a fact of passing that written test. So.
Yeah. In my opinion, I think it boils down to more than just like mental maturity, you know what I mean? I think it also boils down to emotional maturity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you lack the impulse control when you have heightened emotions, then
that could be dangerous.
Yeah, it would be on me, right? Because if I'm like, okay, yeah, I know you have this problem, let me throw this at you too, right? Before addressing this other issue, before helping you cope and deal with this and get you to a point where you can control your emotion or your impulsiveness when you have heightened emotions, then it's on me if something happens after that. If I give you more leverage to put yourself or other people in harm's way, right?
Yeah.
Because you lack that impulse control, and I put you behind of a wheel of a car, someone cuts you off and you ram your truck or whatever you have into them and just run them over and you seriously injure someone or kill someone. Well, I knew what I was doing when I handed you those keys.
Yeah.
Or when I got you your license, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so because that's something you really you pay attention to as they're getting older, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could see how well they handle different situations and all that. So that's just something. Yeah, you knew before you handed him the keys.
Yeah, and I genuinely think like there's so many and like things like that. There's so many factors that play into like whether or not I decide you're ready, right? Because we can get to that age of 14 and they're like, hey, can I go get my permit? I'm just like, no. And this is why. This is where I think you need to work on things. This is where when I see improvement here, this is when we can do this and look into getting this for you. But until then, this is where we're at. You need to have more self development before we can get to the point where you can get your license.
Right. So what if you like if your son or daughter just isn't really applying themselves? You know what I mean? Like you said, what your son gets to or your baby gets to 14 years old, and then they're like, they ask you to get the permit. You know, what if they just push it off? Like, what if they never even bother to drive? You know what I'm saying? Like I was talking about earlier.
Where they lack the self initiation.
Yeah, yeah.
Number one, it depends on where we live, right? Because the truth is, in other cities, it's not common for people to have license,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Mm.
So you can go like Miami, other parts of Florida, New York, California. It's common for people not to have licenses because public transportation is so big.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know, man. It again, it just depends on where we live.
Yeah.
Right? If public transportation is big where we live and it's coming from a place of I'll ask them like straightforward like what do you want to get your license? And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Why?" And they just I mean, I can take the bus, the train, whatever it is, trolley, whatever. And I mean, I can't be like, no. But at the same time, I don't know, because that goes into like 16 years old. I think it's important for you to have the responsibility to getting yourself to work.
Right, yeah.
And learning that responsibility of being on time and getting yourself to places on time. And it's called backwards planning, right? I need to be at work at 6 o'clock. Okay. I need to leave my house at 6:30. Okay. I know it takes me about 30 minutes to get to get dressed. Okay. I know it takes me about 15 minutes to get out of bed. Okay. Boom. Now I'm up at 4:45. I'm out of bed by 5 o'clock. I'm dressed and ready to go by 5:30. Boom. I'm at work by 6. I think I made that timeline right. But anyway, the point being is it's called backwards planning. So here's my hit time. Let me plan what I have to do before here. So I think that's it's important because I think timeliness is important. I think a lot of people show up late to things and all of these things and have no remorse, and it's a burden on other people, right?
Yeah.
Like when I was single and I was dating, after I was doing all my crazy stuff, when I was actually looking for someone to settle down with, I would pay attention to things like when I was at a drive-thru, right? You go through a drive-thru, if you don't have your order, Caitlin has this problem. It bugs me. But I would look at things like when you go through a drive-thru, whether or not you have your order ready before you get to the window, or before you get to the speaker, right? Because it shows whether or not you care about people's other people's time. If you're mindful about how you're spending other people's time, and just respect of people, right? Because think about it, you're in a full drive-thru. You going a little bit faster on your order or having your order ready when you get there, it speeds up that drive-thru, right? So then you're being courteous of other people's times. And so I think it's so important.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, I feel like that doesn't really play for me. Like,
the drive-thru rule?
Yeah. Like I don't know. I mean, you see how you see. For me, it's not that deep. But I do see Savannah. She does like she'll know where we're going. Like we'll be a good distance from her. Or we won't even leave the house yet, and then we get there, and she's like, So then I'm like, man, you knew it was coming here. Like you didn't think of like what you might have wanted. anxiety for the other people, or
No, it gives me anxiety for the people who are working.
taking the order and all that.
Yes, like when I pull up to that window, Caitlin knows. Caitlin will tell you, I have to have my order ready because I'll pull off. Like I'm not like it's. I think it's so rude. I used to work fast food. I know. I used to be an assistant manager. Like I know how it works. Like I think it is so rude to sit there and just, yeah, give me a minute, and then you spend 15 minutes, not literally 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes in that drive-through, and then you just build up this entire line behind you.
Yeah, so now you're getting slammed back to back with orders and all that.
It makes me anxious, and I'm like, "What do you want?" And she'll be like, come on, like, we gotta, like, you knew we were coming here. Hurry up.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, give me a second. And then she'll be like, dude. And I hate, like, and it's the, let me see. No, you don't need to see. You already know. McDonald's has had the same menu your entire life.
Yeah, for real.
One or two other things are changed. They lost what? A chicken wrap? Like, just order.
Like, I already have something in your mind that you want.
Yes.
Like that's why we picked the place, because you want something from
like your hardest deciding factor should be what sauce you want. Because you should already know what you want.
Yeah,
like,
for real.
No, but I don't know, man. It just gives me anxiety.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, and this goes back to me being like a friendly person or whatever. But I also know the time and place. Like with restaurants, stuff like that, I'll just say my order, and then go on, have a good day, all that stuff, But if I'm sitting at a restaurant, or if I'm like sitting at like a bar or something like that, I'll actually like try and have more of a conversation, Like what do you think? Like what would you like? What's your favorite drink, or something like that?
Yeah.
And then just like kind of pick their brains and see where they would go with it, So it's just different stuff like that where you know how much time you got, you know what I'm saying? Like a drive-through is not the place to try and have a 5-minute conversation. But yeah.
Yeah, no. But I'm also like, I don't know, even at restaurants, like but I have different courtesy at restaurants, right? Caitlin always orders before me. I always order last. If Caitlin's food doesn't show up, I sit there and wait for her food to show up. My food gets cold or not. I will never. This is one thing about me is, I will never speak up about something wrong with my food. But if you mess up Caitlin's food, I will shut your whole restaurant down.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm gonna speak up regardless, because I feel like it goes back to working for Star. You know what I'm saying? Like, I spent my hard-earned money on this food.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I would like at least when I'm asking for something, and obviously people make mistakes, and it's just the way you treat me when I tell you made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could get to the second window, they hand me my food, and be like, "Have a great day." I'm going to sit there for a little bit, make sure my food is right, just because there's been so many times that it's been wrong. So I'll sit there. If it's right, obviously I'll drive off. If it's wrong, it's like, hey, it's like, I asked for this. Can you make this? And then the reaction from that is going to depend on how I react. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just a respect thing. Like, you can't get upset with me because you messed up my order. You know what I'm saying? So, and it could have been a simple mistake, but the way you treated me, that just dictated how the rest of it went.
And it's your job, and I get that. It is their job to make their food how I order it, or how I order it, how the order was given. So when I order my steak medium rare and you give it to me medium well, I'm still gonna eat it, but I'm gonna eat it aggressively.
Not gonna be the happiest. And I think stuff like that is because the chefs who are making it should know how long a steak should be on there to get to certain like you know what I'm saying. But when it goes for fast food restaurants, it's so easy. If I ask for a fresh Big Mac meal, just drop everything again. And I'll tell you at the window. I'll wait if I got to, you know what I'm saying? We went to Wendy's the other day and I was like, can we get this meal and can we please get it fresh? Like we'll wait if we have to. Like we understand there could be a wait. And then they're like, yeah. And then we get to the second window and then they hand us out the food and I taste the fry and it tastes old. So I'm already upset because I just told you, like, I was so understanding, like I can wait, like, and you still gave me this old food, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, no, that's one thing that I will get mad about,
yeah,
and I will say something. Fries, like if I go to McDonald's and ask for fresh fries, I'll say just like this. I'm like, hey, can I get a large fry? Can you make sure to drop it fresh, and make sure there's salt on it? Don't worry about the wait. I have no problem pulling over into one of the stalls.
right.
And they're like, yeah, no problem. They'll put it in. Do. Pull up to the window. They'll hand me my food, and I'll try one of the fries, and it'll be either cold, nasty, whatever it is. And I'm like I specifically told you. I gave you step-by-step instructions on how to do your fucking job.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I said, drop the fries fresh, take them out, make sure you put salt on them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's simple. It's like it will, like I'm telling you, I'll wait. I will patiently wait. I understand. Yeah. Like you may have a line, or it may not be nobody in line, but I'll still wait.
If there's nobody in line and you mess up my order, if I pull up to an empty drive-thru,
that's just straight laziness.
That's the number one thing. That's the number one thing that I won't even ask for fresh fries when I pull into an empty
because it should just be fresh anyway.
Because they should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you ain't got nothing but time on your hands, dude.
Yeah.
You have no other orders, no. Hey, that's it.
Yeah.
Hey, you have my order.
Yeah. You gonna give me these fries have been sitting here for 30 minutes because you ain't had a rush.
that and middle of the night, everything should be fresh.
Yeah, for sure.
Middle of the night, I'm not talking about middle of the night like 2:30 when everyone's leaving the bars. No, I'm saying middle of the night like pre 1:30 and post 3 a.m. I go through a McDonald's drive-thru, it better all be fresh. There's no reason why it shouldn't be.
Yeah, there's nobody there.
Everybody else is sleeping.
Yeah,
I should be sleeping.
Yeah.
But I have a pregnant wife at home who wants French fries.
Yeah.
So you don't give me some fresh Frenchy fries.
Frenchy fries. No, but
I'm gonna come through this window. I'm gonna kick you in your throat. No.
Going back to what we was talking about with our kids and all that. You mentioned you get anxiety through the drive-through window and all that. So, how would you go about raising kids that like might get anxiety or might get depression? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel as though I don't have depression. If I do, I don't notice it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'd have to figure out what is the best way to parent someone with depression. You know. So how would you go about that?
We've had this conversation. Me and Caitlin have had this conversation. Oh yeah, the podcast doesn't know this.
Yeah.
But I'm having a girl.
Woo!
Ta-da! Where's our applause? Anyway, so with that being said, if my daughter had depression, anxiety, either one, right? We have both agreed that mental health days are a thing and are important when they are needed. But with that being said, I do not believe in allowing what you're going through mentally to affect you academically or like even me personally, right? I've struggled with anxiety and depression and all of that, right? But it has never affected my livelihood. Has never affected my ability to pay my bills or my ability to get up and go to work. I've never allowed it to get to that point because rather than attempting to control my depression or my anxiety, I'm allowing it to control me. Right? And even on my hardest days where I feel like I can't get out of bed or anything like that, I get up and I go to work because I know that's what I need to do. right? I get up and eat at least one meal a day because I know that's what I need to do, right? I may not want it. I may think food sounds disgusting, looks disgusting, smells disgusting, but I know that I have to eat. So I'll eat whatever I decide I'm going to eat. I'll eat it, gagging, literally on the verge of throwing up, but I have to force myself to do it because I know that's what I need. It's not about like at some point you have to say, okay, I can't let this control me. I can't let this defeat me, because you're being defeated if you're allowing it to stop you from your livelihood, the things that make your life what it is. So, with that being said, I don't know, man. Therapy. I think therapy. I think everyone could benefit from therapy. Genuinely, I think people who think they're perfectly healthy adults who have no trauma could use therapy. I think people who know they have trauma but aren't willing to address it and how it affects them need therapy. I think you're a pretty normal adult. I could tell you could benefit from therapy. Whether you think that or not, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I do. I agree with you. I think everybody could, because even if there's something, like I said, I don't know if I have depression.
I don't say, and I don't say this, right? And I'm not saying replace God with therapy.
No,
right?
Yeah.
No, you go to therapy, and me personally, I prefer a Christian therapist, someone who is religious, because
that way they can lead you down the
yes, I want those two to meet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to therapy because I don't believe in God. I'm going to therapy because I've had fucked up things happen to me. Not because of God. Two different things. Like, God has helped me through these things, but these things have happened, and I have to cope with these in a healthy way so that it doesn't affect me negatively in my life in general. So I need those two to cross.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think like therapy, teaching, like being that person that they can come talk to about things. Or at least I hope I can. I can't force that upon them. I can't make them talk to me. I can't do any of that. I just hope I can be that person.
And that's like I was saying, like I don't know if I have depression or not. I mean, I feel like I'm all right. But at the same time, that's how I could benefit from therapy. I could find out stuff about me that I didn't even know. So it's just thinking about that. And you saying that you can, that you didn't let it defeat you or let it control you and things like that. I wonder if that's just like the certain level of depression or anxiety, you know what I mean? Because being able to have that mindset is what's going to keep you going, like regardless, you know what I mean? But what about the people that can't get that mindset, you know what I'm saying? Or that won't, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not letting themselves get to it, or however it may be, you know what I'm saying? Like they're just like, I would almost say allowing it to consume them. Because there's different levels of it, right? How deep it is or how light it is.
I've been low. I've been deeply, deeply in like my depression, right? To the point where like I sat in my car ready to kill myself. It's the truth. And in those moments I knew God, and I knew God, but it was still at a time where God felt so far. No. I felt far from God.
Yeah.
And so it felt as if God could not help me any other way. But even in those moments, even in my lowest points, and even in the points where I thought there was no other option, I found a will, and I found strength. And obviously I'm still here. But these are the moments that I didn't let my depression defeat me, right?
Right.
I never lost. Me and my depression, I'm at like 26-0 right now.
Yeah.
I've been beating this motherfucker's ass my entire life.
Yeah.
And so there's been close calls. And
Yeah. And I think that's important for people to realize, is that when people think it's over, or people think that or when they're at their lowest, like you said, like you were in that situation, you don't lose until you give up your life. Like that's the only time depression can like win over you. You know what I'm saying? So, or anything can win over you, is if like you let them like take over. You know what I'm saying? So I thank God that you're here today, because I mean, I would, you know what I'm saying? Like everything that we've been through and all that, you know, and it's just sad to see people go through that, you know. So
and to think that people, right? So I know I know what it's like to suffer silently.
Mm-hmm.
Right? To sit in that car by myself with a gun in my lap, ready like to end it all by myself. Nobody knew I was in that situation. Up until this point, the only person who knew about the situation is Caitlin. And so at what point do you say, I cannot let this control me anymore?
How long did it take you to get to that point?
I don't know, man. It's just something that that was the moment where I was like, I need to get closer with God. Right? I felt so far from God, and I knew that I needed to take the steps to get closer with God. And the truth is like I'm still far from God. We're all still far from God.
But the difference is of how you're closing that gap.
No.
You're closer to
my
what you
flesh
were.
is far from God.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Me, I am far from God. My heart, my soul, best buds with God.
Mm-hmm.
Right? God knows my heart.
Yep.
God knows that I know, like, that in my heart, I know that Jesus died for my sins, and that I want to be a good Christian, and that I want to do better and be better and take the steps it takes to be fully fulfilled and walk in the light of Christ, and to speak the gospel and to live by the gospel. And so somewhere in the Bible it says you shouldn't speak about God, you should be about God and only use your voice when you have to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The truth is I will never be as close as I want to be with God. It's the truth. You will never be that close either. We're not perfect. We can't be. But at some point you have to accept that, and you have to say, all right, I'm going to get as close as I can in my lifetime. Because at the end of the day, no matter what I do, no matter how much money I donate, no matter how many good things I do, how many things I change about myself, I will still never be perfect. But that's okay, because there's a man who died on a cross, who did everything perfectly in life, who lived a perfect life with no sin, none, zero, zip. And he said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That's the difference. My flesh will never be close to God, because I battle with worldly temptations, lust, gluttony, greed, everything that every human being deals with. I deal with it too, but the difference is my heart is close to God, that I know for a fact that Jesus died for my sins. And that's my ticket to heaven. That's what would get me out of here when the rapture comes.
Amen.
That's my redemption.
Yeah. Amen.
And on that note,
shit, yeah. Damn, this has been a great episode of
Brotherly
Beliefs,
Beliefs,
man.
family and fun, man.
Yeah, I hope you guys took something from that, man, because that was the Holy Ghost taking over him. At first, he wasn't very comfortable talking about that situation with just everybody that's watching right now, and then he was able to run with it and then preach his testimony to you guys. And I hope you guys felt it as much as I did, because it had me tearing up for real. And
yeah, man.
yeah. So
I'm hot.
Yeah. So
I'm sweating.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, man. Comment down below if you guys like to hear more, whatever you guys want to hear more of. Tap in with our Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, YouTube. Tap in with our Facebook. We're trying to come up with some more like reels. You know what I'm saying? Shorts
TikTok.
and all that.
We got to get our TikTok up too.
Yeah. And yeah.
All right. Until next time, you guys.
See you guys later.